He's finally on the show. Many have thought that Dallin Josephson was not going to even appear because of the hatred my team has for his honestly dominant fantasy football team in the last too many years, but I think it's the last 5 years. So one for me, one for Mahomes. Dallin Josephson, welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Honored to share my knowledge with all you lowly peasants who can't keep up with me.
Oh, there it is. True feelings coming out now, Dallin. You know, you and Spencer have been taking down the league pretty much the past, sadly, it seems like a decade, which is just disgusting. Do you have any current thoughts before we jump into the Q&As for our video today?
Oh, I'm just excited for my Chiefs, Mahomes and Kelsey to carry me all the way to one more championship. Finally, one thing I have never done, and I know people say I've been dominating for a long time, but I have never held the solo record for most championships in the league. I've always been tied or one behind Spencer. So that's my
Oh,
goal this year, is to finally pass him and actually hold the solo spot for the most championships in our league.
I feel so bad for you. Like you don't have that statistic on your record, the most championships in our league, you douche.
That's what I always tell everyone. I don't know why I get so much crap. Spencer's always been the reigning leader, and he's had the best dynasty of a team. I've been following him, trying to keep up with him the whole time.
I swear we were probably all smoking pot when we did our first Dynasty League draft with Josh Gordon. I'm sure he was back in the background, and you and Spencer are the only sober ones in the room.
I don't know. A lot of people think I'm really good at fantasy football or figured something out, and they don't want to trade with me because of it. Honestly, the only reason my team is decent is because I'm a big Chiefs fan and I picked up all the Chiefs players before they were good. I had all the Chiefs players before Mahomes started playing, and then when he came, they all started going off, and I just got them for free pretty much off of the waiver wire.
Yeah, no, I don't know, skill or the Chiefs, both could be related to each other. It's true. I think I was talking to Brooksby, and he's been collecting Arizona because he's a Cards fan with Trevor. And if it wasn't the Chiefs going off the last couple of years, another team, potentially we could have be seen as somebody else, running our league to bed. But it's gonna be interesting. So, real question is, when we reset, when does that happen? What's going to happen? And what's your feelings on the recent fire sale? Because we haven't really heard a team like yours really, their thoughts on that.
So I don't know. Ryan last week kind of talked about it, but I'm excited for a reset. I think it'll be really fun to start fresh, start building from the ground up type of thing. So that aspect I'm excited for. I think the fire sale, because after I think this year we were all kind of in the mindset of let's do the reset. Let's do one more year, then do the reset.
Yeah.
Because in previous years, I think a majority of us wanted to keep it going. But then Andrew did the fire sale, and I think it switched people's opinions. And I'm honestly curious to know what everyone's thinking now. I think Andrew is all set, all in on this reset. I think he wants the reset, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's best for his team if he gets the reset
Yeah.
because of the way we set it up, where you get to keep rookie picks. And he
Mm-hmm.
sold his whole team for nothing but picks for the next 2 years. So I think he gets a huge advantage if we reset. I think everyone he traded to now has the idea of maybe let's not reset because they don't have the draft picks anymore and they've got a solid team now. I think you, Matt, and Ryan have stacked teams that can compete. And honestly, I don't know if my team's the best anymore. I think 4 teams are pretty dang solid and could win it. And I don't know if you guys want to reset. I don't know if I think your opinions may have changed because I think your team would be better if we don't reset.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we talked about this with Ryan's, video last week. The current, rule on when we voted in our league meeting is if you or Spencer win this year, the league resets, right? We brought
Mhm.
it up to 2 teams instead of like a double reset on our team, on our league. Now, if me, Ryan, I'm guessing it's looking like Matt or even Brooksby are kind of the teams that are playing for the playoffs with your team. If we beat you current to our current rules, the league would not reset and we would go through another year. But we would add that champion to the next qualifications for the following year. So then it would be you, Spencer, and then the new champion. If they won again, that would bust the league and blow it up. And you're
Yeah.
right. Back before this season started, I think the majority thought, I think it was actually only one vote that held out from us resetting this league. I think it was really a split decision. But going through that fire sale, I don't want to reset now.
Yeah.
If we don't reset, I get to keep Mark Andrews and AJ Brown along with everybody else who I have in my league right now. And I just
Yep.
sustained freaking Brees Hall with a stupid ACL injury.
I honestly think you, Matt, and Ryan don't want to reset anymore. And I honestly think Andrew's team, if we don't reset, I think Andrew's team next year will be far worse than it was this year, even with all the rookie picks. I think he is all in on hoping to get a reset. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be
Yeah, well,
interesting.
how it all breaks down, right? I mean, it's a mute point if you just win it again and blow up the league this year. I mean, to our current underlying rules that we all sit by, which would suck a little bit for my team. Going through the next 2 years because I sold 2 years worth of first rounders to Andrew to get the players I did get, and it's really great because Mark Andrews has done a ton since that trade happened. Good old topping out 8 points. Thank you, tight end Andrews.
I know he's been disappointing since the first 3 games he went off, and since then he hasn't done a ton.
Literally at the fire sale.
Yeah,
Literally was the high point of his value.
yeah.
That's just
Now
how it goes, I
Jackson's hurt
guess.
too, so
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure.
Yeah. And Jimmy G is now injured out of the season pretty much. I mean, he might come back for the playoffs, but doesn't help us for fantasy. And George Kittle's my other tight end. So who's going to throw the ball to him? He's just going to block like he does anyways.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
who needs
another
tight ends in life?
disappointing. He was a high projected player for like a long time, and he's just always been disappointing. I feel like
Yeah, you want to give me Henry back for that guy?
I don't have Henry anymore.
I know.
That
Jerky traded him
that
away.
is that is the biggest thing I'm scared of going into the playoffs is that trade
Is
coming back
Derek?
to bite me. Because right now I gave up Derrick Henry for J.K. Dobbins because I thought
Yeah,
Henry would
I don't know
last
what
the
you were
season.
doing when you made that trade.
I knew Henry would be better at the beginning in the middle of the season. I just did not think he'd last through the season with coming off the surgery and all the
Because of
carries
running
he's had.
so much too. Yeah.
So I was playing for the playoffs. And it still could work out. Lamar Jackson's hurt, so J.K. Dobbins is coming back. He could carry the team. We'll see. But I'm scared Derrick Henry is going to be the reason I lose,
A
and
beast.
that's just going to kill me if that happens.
Gosh, that'd be dramatic.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
Is there anything about fantasy football that you wish you could change?
About our league or just fantasy football in general?
Just general
Just
fantasy
general.
football as a whole.
There's a couple little things that I think would be nice. Like, I don't know, I'd have to think about it, but penalty yards, like when your guy gets, if one of your wide receivers gets pass interference and so they don't catch it, but you get the 70 yards that they penalty, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that should be added in somehow. That would be nice. I mean, even just stats wise, I feel like it'd be cool if they implemented some way of air yards to receiving yards. Does that make
For
sense?
quarterbacks.
Like if a quarterback throws it 3 yards, but then the receiver goes 70,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if the
You mean like
quarterback should
Tyreek Hill?
necessarily get points for that. Yeah, yeah.
What about wide receiver caused interceptions?
That too. That's another good one to point out. Like anything where it's not the quarterback's fault,
Yeah.
I think should not hurt the quarterback's
It's
stats.
almost like an error in baseball because it's
Yeah,
opinion that's a
exactly.
little more opinionated than like saying, "Oh, that happened. This is what it is." Like a yard.
Yeah. Or like if I don't know, we don't play with defenses, but that was a big one. A lot of companies started doing is if there was like a defensive touchdown that wouldn't count as the other team's points against because the offense gave that up, not the defense.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's lots of little things that I think would be nice, but I know that gets really complicated and hard to track the more complex you get.
Yeah. I think the issue is usually the NFL has its natural stats and the
Hmm.
games are based off those stats, right? So like the NFL would have to start tracking like let's just say the wide receiver led interception. Like they don't do that right
Yeah.
now. So
And
it
there
you,
is
you
something to be said for the simplicity of the statistics. You can just look up ESPN, check
yeah,
the scores, and see, oh, that many yards, that many
yeah,
points. Got
what's going on? Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be kind of nice to tweak it up, but I think the reality is until the NFL actually does it, or if some company decides to do it themselves, we probably won't see much change. I'm guessing on that front.
Yeah. Which it's nice. I know I voted against moving our league to the sleeper app, but honestly, this year I'm realizing how nice the sleeper app is and how crappy the ESPN app is.
ESPN is the worst, dude.
It's so bad. And I feel like they cornered the
They've been
market. They
king. Yeah,
never
they have.
did anything with it. Yeah.
No, they'd like I think it was you were texting with me when like starters were on buys. Like there's a buy start mix up on the app. And well,
Yeah.
luckily it wasn't like during games, but it was like prepping for your like lining up your roster for the season for that week. And I don't know what was going on with their software, but it was like nobody else was having that issue. Sleeper was having that issue. It was just the
Yeah.
ESPN app.
And just the friendliness of having dynasty formats implemented
Yeah.
into the draft. And they have taxi squads. That's so nice where you actually have the software that can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sold.
that's why I'm a fan of Sleeper, and the other big thing is Sleeper. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They just do fantasy football, the fantasy sports. ESPN, doesn't just do this. Like they're a massive network for television. They do a ton of things, ton of sports announcing. They have fantasy football, and I think you're right. They cornered the market. I think they did a lot of advertisement on their own channel for their app when it was like getting going back in the early 2000s
Mm-hmm.
because you had the NFL and Yahoo, and I was never part of any of those leagues, so I've always known ESPN. But like, and just the other thing, my other big issue that I want to get my home league off ESPN is because when you do a draft, Sleeper has a board. Like you can scan the board; they're different color coded to quarterbacks positions, so you kind of know what's happening without actually diving in to the data. And ESPN is just that standard top 100 list, and so
Yeah.
you can't scan across teams. And
The board, yeah. Everything about Sleeper is just a notch better than ESPN.
welcome to the dark side.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm convinced.
Cool. Dallin, what is your trading philosophy?
My trading philosophy.
Yes, when we start going to the off season, start throwing around trading ideas. How do you look at trades? How do you view trading? And what's kind of your strategy a little bit? Kind of what's your philosophy behind trading to get trades done? The goal is to get trades done. So what's
Yeah.
going on in your mentality?
No, I think a league where people are actively trying to trade is always way more fun because you always get to compare things, you always get to compare players. You're constantly thinking about how you can make your team better, which I think is the funnest part of fantasy football. So my philosophy is I always break down my roster first, kind of get an idea of where my strengths are, where my staples are, where I'm not going to trade this guy unless I get a stud back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try and figure out where my weaknesses are. And then I look across the board and I just look for value. So I look for certain positions that I want and things like that. But my biggest thing is just value. So I'll go through ESPN's rankings or sleepers rankings or whatever, and I'll look for players that are ranked at a point that I think they're undervalued, and that's who I'll target. I'll say, I think this person is going to do better than what they think they're going to do. So
And what the
I'm going to
current
target
market
them.
value might be on that player.
Yep. And then I look for players on my team that I think are a little overvalued, and I try to sell those players. So it's just me trying to sell players that I think are overpriced for cheap players. Buy low, sell high, right?
Yeah.
That was my philosophy on Derrick Henry. I figured Derrick Henry's never going to be worth more than he is right now. He's only going to get worth less as he gets older. So
Mm-hmm.
now's a good time to sell. And right now, the trade doesn't seem that great, but hopefully in the long run, it does.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty solid trading strategy. I think multiple people in the league kind of view that trading philosophy as one of their own. It's interesting though, when you do that, sometimes it hits and you get a player there like that does pop up, and then you're selling a player that's still not ready to be sold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your Derrick Henry trade. I mean, back when you got Henry, Henry was already in the NFL for 4 years. He came from me because they wouldn't play him.
Yeah.
And I was frustrated. I wanted George Kittle because I was thinking he was going to be a decent tight end. And he broke out that season. And I think it was the season before Henry broke out, which I was feeling good. But now Henry's been a huge running back for the last, couple of handful of years, and Kittle's just Kittle.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think, yeah, I don't know. There's been a few that I've been killed at for trades, and there's been a few that I've hit well on. I think overall, too many people are scared to pull the trigger on trades. I think it's I think
Yeah.
everyone values their players a little higher than what they probably are worth. And then everyone's so scared that they're gonna get burned in the trade that they end up not trading unless they really think it's a like for sure they're winning this trade.
Yeah.
So that's something I've tried to be better at is not to be so hesitant. Just if I think it's close to being fair, if I think there's a decent shot, it's fair. Pull the trigger instead of being so cautious and holding back.
There you have it.
I'm the same way. Over I get overhyped on my own players and sometimes overvalue them, and I feel like that a lot of times that's held me back from making trades too.
Get hyped, make trades happen. Great points from the reigning champion so far. We're going to take a quick break and come back with our weekly breakdown. Stay tuned. Okay. Okay, guys, this week's breakdown. We're going to start with Dirty Mike and the Boys versus Mine Nut Zach Ertz, Andrew Holden. Again, usually we see this as the throwaway game of the week. I think that might go to a different matchup this week, potentially, but last week, Andrew scored decent. He actually wasn't the lowest scoring team in the week. He could have took down a team and got a dub.
Poor mentors team. He's just not mentoring lately.
Or they speak two different languages. His team is just falling apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this one we're gonna be quick on this matchup because we kind of know where it's gonna land. Dirty Mike and the Boys should take this one pretty handily. Again, my Nets like is in a rebuilding phase. Really, Pacheco gets more usage out of KC, and Jalen Warren. It's be interesting what was going on. Najee has been a little bit up in the air And James Cook. Actually, I kind of like some of these flex options he's got going on right now. James Cook, I think, is the start over Singletary this week, anyways.
This last week, he kind of took over the backfield a little bit more. Yeah. Going forward, he might be the guy. I could totally see that.
Yeah. I mean, again, Andrew is in a rebuilding phase, but he's got players that have potential. Be nice to see them play out.
Yeah. Isaiah
With
Pacheco, it kills me that he took Isaiah Pacheco because I wanted him and I thought about picking him up, but I didn't think he'd overtake Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been a letdown, I'll tell you that.
you still holding on to Clyde Ceh?
Yep, he's on my
Okay.
IR right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ceh could have been a Josh Jacobs story. I mean, you don't know the usage he was seeing in Kansas City, especially with McKinnon coming there. It's just confusing. So
Yeah.
Sanders, Josh Jacobs, they're all kind of these running backs were kind of in the same dilemma at the start of the season with CEH.
Yeah.
Jacobs blew out. Sanders actually had a pretty decent season too so far, and CEH has been the one dragging on that group. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. You could have traded him off, but he's a guy on your team, so I could see not
Yeah.
doing that because you're a fan of the Chiefs, right?
That's the problem. My Chiefs love made me hold on to him. And honestly, I struggle with any Chiefs running back. When you got Mahomes and Kelsey, it's hard. Just any running back's not going to do a ton.
Yeah, the volume's going somewhere else usually.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, it's Dirty Mike and the boys. I talk about a disappointing team this year. I feel like he's got some of the top tier studs on his team.
It does.
And just I think depth here has shown too. He's just a couple of his starters are just not guys that are going to put up points. He's got a couple top end guys and then not much after that. Kamara has
Yeah, I
been a
mean,
huge disappointment too.
and Kamara's not playing ball. I don't know what's going on down there in New Orleans, but he's got Allen. I mean, he's got Jameson Williams. He's been holding on to that rookie to see what happens, and he's IR'd Darren Waller. I'm so happy I traded him Darren Waller. I actually got something for him because he's been another tight end that should be playing a lot better, but I don't know what's going on with him.
And
Keenan Allen has
hurt.
had his whole season hurt this year, and he's
Yeah.
on the Chargers. So it's really too bad what's happened to Drew Mike and the boys this season. Easily could have been, I don't know, at least in the playoff run for sure. Again, I mean, he's been dominating with you these last years, so there's no reason, but his team's kind of falling apart from injuries and just now not performing.
Yep. I feel like part of the reason I'm okay with the idea of resetting our league is I feel like me and Spencer our team is getting close to the decline of being on top for
Oh,
so
of
long.
sucking. Oh, and you want to reset? Weird.
That's exactly why. I'll admit it.
You hear that, everyone? So let's push out another year at least and watch their teams just crumble into oblivion.
Uh,
Okay. Well, I'm taking Dirty Mike and the boys. What's your call?
yeah, I got to take Dirty Mike just because Andrew's rebuilding.
Yep. Okay, moving on. We're going to stage 5, Kingsbury and Ron Burgundy and Gold, Spencer Brooksby and Matthew Scott. So let's kind of get your take a little bit first on this one.
Devontae not having the greatest game, but Derek Carr having a pretty crappy game too. I mean, my initial thought, I think Ron Burgundy and Gold it's top 3 in my opinion teams in the league right now. I think his team's all coming together at the right time, going into the playoffs and performing pretty well. I do think he's got a couple weak spots. I mean, since Zach Ertz went down, no tight end. I feel like that's one thing I've got on a lot of teams is that Kelsey's a stud.
Kelsey's been the
But
only tight end pretty much this year. I mean, Mark Andrews started hot, right? But he's not doing well. Hopefully, I'm hoping he comes back for the playoffs or a little
yeah,
before the playoffs because I need to catch another win, I think.
yeah.
But even Darren Waller is a big tight end. I mean, Pitts, he's got Pitts, and Pitts is a joke right
Yeah,
now.
crazy how nothing he has done this year. How much of nothing he's
Nothing, literally nothing. He's caught. He's
oh,
like his game stats are like 2 catches for
yeah,
probably like
if
a
that.
bird in a hand and a freaking the dinner plate after the game. Fretch Pitts, what is
Yeah.
going on in Atlanta?
I feel my thing with Matt's team, Ron Burgundy and Gold, I feel like it's very boom or bust. I mean, I think he'll win this week, but he's got a lot of guys that I feel like have had maybe a third to a half of their games where they just don't put up hardly anything.
Yeah,
And that's another reason I traded him Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can go off and get 30, 40 points in a week if he really goes off, but he'll have weeks where he gets 4 or 5 points. So
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I just think Brooksby's team, stage 5 Kingsbury's just a little too weak. I'm honestly surprised he has as many wins as he does. Somehow he keeps pulling it off. But DeAndre Swift's gotten healthy. James Conner's gotten healthy, so he can definitely compete. We'll see.
Yeah, I think he's probably hit above his weight a little bit. If you look at the points for, points against stats on in our league, he has one of the lowest scoring teams of points for across the league. I think Andrews is actually only below him, but he's lined up. His weekly matchups have just seemed to be a little more in his favor. Which I don't care how you get to the finish line as long as you cross.
Yeah, it's true.
So, you're right. Matt's got his team is coming together right now, and he's still starting Deshaun. I wouldn't do that. I'm out of Deshaun until he actually plays a game where he's worth starting, and then I'd look at starting him
Yep.
because he played Houston, even though, and it was his old team is going to freaking beat the crap out of. So they suck. Their defense sucks. Deshaun's a running quarterback. Should have ran pretty good in that game. Didn't really do anything in that game. And I think it's just
Yep.
because he hasn't really been playing on the field. Probably doesn't know the playbook still that well with the guys. The chemistry is not there quite yet. I don't know. I wouldn't just start Deshaun, but he has been winning games, so his starts
Yeah.
have been good.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. I'm not big on Deshaun this year. I think next year he could be a stud, but
Yep.
too much rust. I don't know if he can kick all the rust
2
off the
years.
tires.
2 years plus,
Yeah.
30 court cases against you. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
it's that high, but like it's literally like 25.
Yeah.
Whatever. You can start the person that should not be named, Matthew. Let the rest of the nation say, dude, just got the football field, jerk. Anywho. So I'm gonna take I don't want Matt to win, but I think I'll stand on the Matt side on this one too.
Yeah. I lean Matt. I think it will be closer than what their projected totals say it's gonna be. I think it will
Like,
be a decently close game, but I think
how
Matt
many
has.
points?
I would take Matt by 5 to 10.
Okay. That's tight. That's kind of what I was thinking. 5 to 10. It's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be a breakdown. So let's move on.
Okay.
Okay. Going to mine.
Game of the week here. This is the game of the week.
It is, sadly. Oh, this is the game of the week. I need a
think game
win.
of the
I need a
week.
dub. We both need a dub with the same record. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan pointed out he's got the points scored in his favor with all the other 7 and 6 teams. So I think I say you probably need this win more than him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he will in a tie, if we are records tie at the end, he will, I think, beat me out on the points for
yeah.
tiebreaker. So I need this win probably more than he does. You're right.
Yeah, I'd say so. And this is going to be a close one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Again, please stop running. No more touchdowns. I don't even know where they are because ESPN doesn't show you on the
No,
computer if
the
they're in the red
Rams are
zone or not.
driving right now with 30 seconds left. So
Okay, good. He's not going back on the field.
Josh Jacob,
So
man, where did he come from?
I even thought about trying to trade for him and I was like, nah, I don't. I think the new rookie there, Zamir White, that they brought in was probably, it seemed like he was going to replace Jacobs through the middle of this season. I
Hmm.
think it's Zamir, and I wasn't like that high on the running back, the Raiders running back room. So I was like, I'm not even going to try to shoot out trade ideas for those guys.
Yeah. I just I've been surprised how bad the Raiders have been, honestly. And somehow Josh Jacobs keeps putting up points, man. I don't know
Well,
where he
yeah,
came from.
I
Raiders didn't
was.
even pick up his 5th-year option. Like Raiders didn't even
That's
believe in
exactly
him.
why I didn't want to. Yeah, it's exactly why I actually was avoiding trading for Josh Jacobs because of that fact right there. They didn't pick up the fifth
Yeah,
year, and it's just you're
absolutely.
right. But what's
Oh,
gonna be? It's
wow.
gonna be what happened.
Rams just scored with what? Couple seconds left. Jefferson scored, caught a touchdown. Mayfield in the
Uh,
corner.
Mayfield is playing this game.
Baker came in second series and he's played the whole game.
Oh, I didn't think they were actually going to play Baker.
9 seconds left. He just threw a corner route and nailed it. Baker Mayfield picked up this week, comes in
This
and beats
week,
the Raiders.
it was. I heard another podcast where like the Rams organization are joking publicly that they're going to play Baker.
I know. I
Like,
know.
well, hey, here's a playbook. There you go. Good luck. Here on your arm, we're gonna put like chapters of books for you, just in case the dog
Yeah.
comes out and tries to bite you. But that's also your playbook. So look at it when you're on the field.
It was a perfect throw, too. He put it on the money, man. Man,
You know, it'd be crazy if Baker actually becomes a good quarterback, startable, like top 10 every week.
that would be crazy. I mean, we'll see. I think he'll start somewhere next year.
I don't. I actually hope he does. I don't really have any things against Baker. I think he got kind of the short stick a little bit. He didn't help it himself, his personality though, as well. But
Yeah.
I think he still should get a shot somewhere a little more legit. I think he might. Hopefully, I'm hoping he's one of those guys who's probably matured a little bit too, and is a guy who's like, yeah, this guy needs one more shot to play, and he should be a good player, a good football player.
Yeah. No, I agree. He's got the accuracy. I think he could be good. There's just a lot of quarterbacks that come in if they don't have a good team and a good coach and
And
all that
flame
kind of
out.
stuff.
Yeah.
They just never develop because they don't have the consistency of it all.
Yeah. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones.
I mean, Mahomes, he just walked
Did they
into the
just intercept
perfect.
it? He just threw an interception.
Who?
Carr. They just lost the
Well, he
game.
did. He threw an interception, yeah, on this last drive. Yeah.
I can't believe Baker won. How long was he in the? I haven't seen any of the game tonight. So he's been playing the whole game.
He didn't play the first drive, but after the first drive, he's played the rest of the game.
Wow. So who was their quarterback on the first drive? He did so bad that they threw in the guy who they freaking found on the street corner, and was like, "Hey, you're a quarterback."
I don't even remember who it is. It's some no-name guy.
He literally cannot audible.
Well, that's what they were saying during the game. He was audibling. And they're like, how does he know? How does he know what to say?
Wow, that's the Raiders lose. That's amazing.
It's crazy. He just got, yeah, you're right. Carr just got intercepted again to end the game,
Oh, dude,
which is going to
I'm like
be Brooksby
half a
just
minute
lost
ahead of
2
you.
more points.
That's right. I forgot about poor Brooksby on his. There it is. He got 3 points.
Derek Carr, 2.5. That's not a good start, man.
Oh man, that's sad. I mean, he's glad he's got Justin Herbert from Andrew on that fire sale. because he's starting Carr.
Yeah, at least Devonte Adams only had 8 points. That's
Yeah,
we'll see.
I was trying to trade it for Adams this year on the off season.
Yeah. I traded him away
But
in a couple other leagues because he's a Raider. And now I just can't have him on my team.
well, it's a good thing I didn't, and I was never going to entertain the trade. But he only wanted to trade Adams for Diggs, Stephon Diggs, and that
Yeah.
wasn't ever going to happen.
Diggs is a stud. I've tried to get him from you a couple of times because he's a stud.
He is a stud, but he's also with Josh Allen, so it's like trading away Tyreek Hill with Pat Mahomes when they're playing like solid together, and like just
Oh yeah.
the trade's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You'd have to give me a big bag for that trade. My matchup in Ryan. I'm really glad half his players have questionable marks on him because I really do think he probably would beat me. My team is really good because my guys can blow up. Like I've been riding blow ups because I've been starting Christian Watson. He's not in my lineup because he's on a bye. Otherwise, he'd be in my lineup this week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Ryan's got that duo of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, like stud wide receivers
On different teams too, which is
yeah
good quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence has been playing much better recently as well.
yeah
Kenneth
the one
Walker has
weak point.
sustained some stuff, so hopefully, I'm hoping he's not going to actually be able to hit much on the field this week.
If I remember right, I think Walker's they're leaning towards him. He's probably not going to play. Lawrence, I think they're thinking he will play. I haven't read anything about Metcalf though, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was really, that questionable on Josh Jacobs didn't help at all. Almost 20 points, which
Mm-hmm.
it's a good score. It's not a blowout score, so I'm lucky there. But Joe Mixon on my team, actually was looking to trade him away a little bit, but didn't pull the trigger on anything like that. And he's coming off a concussion protocol that's been out for 2 weeks. So this week, I'm hoping he's full steam ahead because he was going to potentially come back last week, but they held him out again. And also Diggs. The Jets have a good secondary, though. But you're not saying Diggs. But they do have a good secondary.
No, for sure. They've got one of the best defenses in football right now. That's the only. I feel like that's the only reason they're playing decently and actually in the playoff race.
That they're a playoff race, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because their quarterback problems are massive right now over there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This will be an interesting matchup. I feel like both you have a couple players that you're starting that I don't like a ton. I'm not a big fan of Jeff Wilson. I'm not sure he does much this week.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's starting on my team right now. My buys, Montgomery probably be starting over him.
Yeah.
So, but he's on bye, and then there was another. Christian Watson is another flex spot. I would have started over him, but he's on bye as well. Mike Williams is back, but I don't know about pulling the trigger on him versus Jeff Wilson.
Mike Williams against Miami, though, that could be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I might switch that guy out for Wilson and then blame it on you when I lose.
I just know last week Mostert came back and Mostert actually outsnapped Jeff Wilson. So
yeah, that's the conversation that's happening right now. So
but at the
it's a hard
same
start.
yeah, I feel like you both have studs. You both have a couple players that I think are weak points, but it's close.
Who's your
Probably
pick?
you the quarterback side, him the wide receiver side, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be close. I'd say if I had to lean one way, I'd probably lean to Ryan. just because I think his players have softer matchups.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. I think even if I take an L on this week, what helps me is slipping into the 4th spot. If I have um a tied record with Brooksby or even Matt, I think I've outscored both those teams on the year. So I'd get the tiebreaker on that. So we still have a couple weeks left. I probably need to have another dub on my record to make sure I can solidify a fourth, that 4th seed in the playoffs at least. So
Yeah.
um I can't, it's hard to pick against your team. It's just the thing is, you're probably right on the softer matchups on his side. So I think I'd probably objectively lean with Ryan on this pick. And I'll just leave it at that. One of the first times I had to go against my team. Okay, so we're gonna go to your matchup now. Last breakdown.
Mhm. I have to think this is going to be a close one.
Well, your opponent is projected for more points than you. Oh wait, that's 100 points. You're ahead of him. So
I'm projected 100.2 more points right now.
obviously Trevor hasn't really gone through his lineup and rostered some of a semi-starting lineup for this week yet. Hopefully he doesn't have any players that were, well, I don't think any players in that Thursday game that was concerning. Is Michael Carter back?
I think so, yeah.
He should be starting. Hmm.
Yeah, losing Cooper
Murray should
Cup
be
is
starting.
always going to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost Cooper Cup, which was a massive hit to his team. And the fact that Stafford is just decided to, not look at the football this season. I don't know what went on with the Rams, about 4 or 5
Yeah.
games into the season. Going from Super Bowl, and they weren't like, they lost some players, but they didn't lose like 90% of their squad to play like this. And they
Yeah.
brought in A-Rob,
Yep. Who's done absolutely nothing.
who's
Yeah.
done absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's been a handful of players like that, but
So you think now it wasn't the quarterback issues that A-Rob had in Chicago, it was A-Rob?
I don't think so. I think honestly, I think the Rams just are done. I think Stafford didn't have the chemistry with A-Rob, and then their O line just is like one of the worst O lines in
Decimated.
football.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a chemistry with the receiver and you have no time, it's hard to know where that receiver is going to be. You're going to throw to the guy you know where he's going to be, which is Cooper Cup. That's why I think Cooper Cup was thrown to 30 times a game.
Yeah. And luckily for Cooper Cup, he could catch the football.
Yeah.
Because all he had to do was hold on to that football, and he pretty much became the wide receiver 1 last year by a freaking landslide
Yeah.
with that much volume.
Yeah. All I know is I'm glad I'm playing Trevor this week because I have a handful of guys on buys. I've had a pretty soft schedule. My schedule's lined up pretty nice for me too.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful when your reigning champion has a soft schedule for that season. It's just glorious. I'm guessing you must have, gave Spencer a couple $1,000 to make that. Here,
Hey,
guys, here's the randomly generated schedule for all the teams.
I
Good
play
luck.
Ryan 3 times and Ryan's a stud.
Oh,
My
your record's
team
what?
goes
11-2. Oh, I'm one of the only teams that beat you this year. Oh, Ryan's a stud. Good for you.
Hey, that's a good thing for you too. Ryan plays me next week, so hopefully I can give him a loss and help you out a
Yeah,
little.
that is true. I need you to give him a L. But if I can get a dub against Ryan this week, and you give him a loss too, then that'd be really crazy.
That would probably bump him out of the playoffs.
That'd be I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that'd be crazy if that actually did.
I wouldn't mind bumping Ryan out of the playoffs. He's one of the teams I'm scared of. So
You should be scared of Ryan. That's very true. You should be scared of Ryan. And if my guys decided like they love football, you should be scared of my team.
yep.
Matt's team is totally a team that could potentially. I think he's had some big scoring weeks, but I don't think he's had as many as Ryan or my team has had scoring weeks. So
Yeah.
he's also had some start sitting management issues that he must be consulting his son on or something, and just his lack of an experience as an assistant coach or manager is showing a little bit, like kind of like Jeff Saturday's situation. But I'm actually on the Jeff Saturday train, so I don't want to dog him too much.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the three teams that I'm most worried about are you, Ryan, and Matt. And I'm cheering for Brooksby, Ben Dixon, Trevor, one of them to sneak into the playoffs.
It's gonna be interesting. We'll jump into the standings really quick. I'm gonna take your team. You're gonna take your team. I already call our picks on that game. So,
Yep.
since we're getting the playoff run, actually, we can get a projected playoff bracket. Let's just jump into that right now, because this is something new. It's got me slipping into the 4th spot. I'll take that. It's got all the teams you're worried about in the playoffs with you.
I know. So I mean, I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
beat Trevor. So the only one that might sneak in is stage 5.
But he has to win, because even if he
plays
ties,
Matt.
he has to have a better record than the 4th place team.
Yeah.
Because if
But
he ties for the 4th place, he's not going to win out on the tiebreaker.
So he'll have a chance because either you or Ryan will lose, which would put him tied. So going the last week will decide. He'll have a chance no matter what next week to sneak in.
Who's he playing this week again? He's playing Matt.
Playing Matt, and it looks like Matt should win that one.
Dirty Mike and the boys. Are you kidding me?
So he'd have a chance to win that.
Are you kidding me? He's playing a team that's not even going to have a chance to play in the playoffs.
And then you play Matt.
Yeah, and I play Matt.
And Ryan plays me, so there could be a lot of changes in the playoffs.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my.
Oh, if I go 2 losses and he goes 2 dubs, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And that's Ryan, has the same issues. So this is a bigger week for me and Ryan than
it is. You and Ryan, whoever loses here is on the bubble. And
yeah. And if Ryan loses, he has to play you.
Yep.
So he could get completely knocked out of the playoff run race.
Yep.
Because Brooksby's playing Dirty Mike and the boys his last game before the playoffs.
All I know is if Ryan's on the bubble, I would love to kick him out of the playoffs. I would love to.
Yeah, I know, because he's probably right now the leading team to probably take you down.
Yep, I'd probably agree with that.
No thoughts for any of the other mates in the league.
All I do is
I know the rest of the league
actually
cares about each other more. Like, it's just you that we ostracized because of this feelings.
Hey, it's more fun when there's more smack talk. I got to talk crap a little bit.
This is true. This is true.
If we reset, I can't talk crap anymore because I don't have anything.
Yeah, if we reset, that's gonna be an interesting draft.
It would be. If we reset, I'm gonna get all of us to get together. We're flying somewhere and meeting up and doing a live draft.
That'd be dope. We should totally do that. I'm down.
I'm not joking. I really think
going to Boise. Half the league's in Boise.
I'd do it if Spencer committed. Both Spencers and Andrew, if we all committed, I'd do it.
I think Andrew would do it. That's not a hard commitment from Andrew. His parents, his mom, I think still lives out here, so
Yeah.
he could make it out here. I think it's you, Brooksby because he's down in Arizona, and then Ben Dixon. But I think Ben Dixon would do it.
Yeah.
He's came out to Utah a couple times in the last 5 years.
I'll be out in Utah in March for my little brother's wedding. So
Oh, really?
yeah, maybe around then.
We're gonna draft in March.
Well, because we have to do our draft and then we are going to do the rookie draft later. So we could do the first draft whenever, right?
That's true, but that's early.
Mix it up,
That
babe.
is early. You're drafting players. You have no idea if they're actually still in their spots or on the
Agent's not even
team.
signed yet.
Yeah, not even signed yet.
I love it. Let's do it.
Oh well, it's been you stop saying you know, edit that out for sure. It's been a better Zoom meeting talking with the reigning champion than I was going to give it credit to, Dallin. It's been a joy and a pleasure having you on the channel this week.
Always glad to be here. I don't get to talk about football enough. There are not enough people in my day-to-day life that know about football and fantasy football. So anytime you want someone to talk to, you hit me up, man.
Well, we're going to continue on with these videos into the next season as well, and probably switch it up, do some other cool things, try to get this channel to have some kind of good exposure in the industry. My goal one day, honestly, is to do an event. My goal is to get to a following or just a viewership where I could do a live event. I think that'd be super cool.
Oh, absolutely.
And talk fast football, talk with people, and just go, because I like doing live events. That's my background from what I was doing, and I just think that'd be such a blast too. Even if it was even if it was like 20 people, if we just get them together, do an event, break even on the event, that'd be cool.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be really cool if it was 1,000.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not joking though, Garrett. I think if you started doing a video and you just a 10-minute video where you ask 5 of us, who's your sleeper this week? What bet would you make this week? What player do you like this week? Like that kind of stuff. I think you could get a lot of viewers to come click every week because they'd be like, oh, a 10-minute video and get a bunch of little insights and stats. I'd love it. Let's do it.
That's a good idea. We'll try it.
Or
I'll make
yeah,
a
like a
note on
buy
that.
low or a sell high or something like that.
Yeah, I think stats, a little stat hitter for each person. The hardest thing is going to be trying to get that recorded, line up all that with people and stuff. But I think that's a cool concept. So I'm going to try to make that happen to see how it goes.
You could even say just every Wednesday night at this time, whoever can get on and share a couple stats. Then if you can't make
Yeah.
it that week, fine. If you can, great.
Yeah, we can run it off like a Google Doc or something, and I'm gonna check my lighting a little bit, but no, actually that's a cool idea. I think that's something that I'm gonna try to get that going. And I'm gonna try to make it at least for the playoffs. I'll
Yeah.
try to make some kind of a stat video at least for that. Gives me a little bit of a time cushion to get that in the works.
Yeah. Even too with gambling becoming a bigger and bigger thing, you could even I know me, Spencer.
I
Me,
like Price Picks.
Spencer. Oh, for sure. I do Fliff. So I
Oh, I've heard of that. And I think Ryan does Fliff. I think you probably got him onto that,
I
or
think I
vice
got
versa.
Spencer. I know Spencer does it. I think Ryan can't because it's not legal in Idaho, but
It's well, he does the non-gambling because it's not legal in Idaho yet. There's like a non-gambling version of Fliff
yeah, with the
on the app.
coins or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that could be big too. Just some like some picks for the week or something like that.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good idea, man. Well, any last words? You got probably 30 seconds left.
I'm good, man. Honestly, the videos are awesome. Keep them coming. I like it. It makes the league way more fun. You do a good
Awesome. Well,
job. You do well.
appreciate it. Great to hear some fandom from the league mates that I'm not completely wasting my life and time on this stuff. My wife thinks
jealous.
that, but I'm
I've thought
not.
about